everyone, today's story is My Wobbly Tooth Must Not Ever, Never Fall Out. And as you can see, it's a Charlie and Lola one by Lauren Child. I have this little sister Lola. She is small and very funny. This week she got her first ever wobbly tooth. Lola says, I do not never want my wobbly tooth to fall out. Marv says, when I had my first wobbly tooth, I nearly swallowed it. Luckily I was eating a toffee and my tooth just got stuck in it. I say, once I headed a football and my wobbly tooth just flew out of my mouth. But I do not never want my wobbly tooth to fall out, said Lola. Marv says, why don't you want it just to fall out? I just need to keep completely all my teeth, says Lola. And I say, those are just your baby teeth and they're meant to get wobbly and fall out. Then you will get new teeth and they are your grown-up ones. It's like mooses, I say. Mooses' antlers fall off and then they get new ones which are better and stronger. But I'm not a moose. It's my wobbly tooth and I want to keep it wobbly, says Lola. Later, Lotta comes over to play with Lola. Lola! Lola says, what is it, Lotta? What is it? And Lotta says, my tooth fell out. What did you get? Says Marv. What do you mean, what did she get? Says Lola. And Lotta says, well, the tooth fairy came and who's the tooth fairy? Says Lola. The tooth fairy is the tooth fairy. I lost my wobbly tooth, I put it under my pillow, and then in the middle of the night, the tooth fairy came, and then I got a coin, says Lotta. And in the morning, I bought this for the farm. It's a chicken. Lola says, I didn't know there was a special fairy who gives you presents when your teeth fall out. Why didn't somebody tell me this before? My wobbly tooth must completely come out now. Lotta says, when your tooth falls out, what are you going to get? We need a horse and a sheep and a cow. And Lola says, I'm going to get a giraffe. Do you get giraffes on a farm? Says Lotta. And Lola says, yes, you absolutely do, Lotta. But how do I get my wobbly tooth to fall out? And Lotta says, does it feel wobbly enough? Lola says, I think it's almost nearly about to come out. And Lotta says, you have to keep wobbling it. Marv says, you want me to twist it? No, Marv, says Lola. Mum said absolutely no twisting. And I say, keep wobbling, Lola. I've been wobbling it for ages, she says. It's still not coming out. I don't think it's ever going to come out. Then she squeals. Ah! It's out! My wobbly tooth is really out. And now I can get my giraffe. Lola says you have to put it under your pillow in the very, very middle. You must go to bed early and you must fall asleep quickly or the tooth fairy won't come. Lola says, yes, because I really want a giraffe. I want the giraffe too, says Lotta. When you come over tomorrow, says Lola, I can have my giraffe and you can bring your chicken and they can be friends. Yes, 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 says Lotta. Bye, Lola. At bedtime, Lola says, Charlie, I'm just going to wash my tooth and make it shiny and clean. And then oh no, my tooth has gone. It's not here. I say, check again. It must be everywhere. But Lola says, my tooth is completely gone. I say, it must be somewhere. So we start searching everywhere. We look in the sink and under the beds, on the floor and around the sofa, everywhere. Lola says, it's completely gone. Now the tooth fairy won't come, and I won't get a coin, and I won't get my giraffe. Then I have a really good idea. If you go to sleep and dream really happy dreams, you will smile, and then the tooth fairy will see the gap in your teeth, and she'll know you really did lose your tooth. So Lola goes to bed, really happy dreams, really happy dreams, really happy. In the morning, Lola looks under the very middle of her pillow. She says, Charlie, the tooth fairy did come. Look, hurry, 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 Charlie. I need to get a giraffe. When Lotta comes to play with Lola, she says, what's your giraffe called? Lola says, giraffe. And what about your chicken? Lotta says, it's called chicken. Oh, look, I think they're friends, says Lola. Then Lola says, maybe Giraffe and Chicken would like to meet Mr. Goat. Oh, we don't have a goat. How will we get a goat, says Lotta. We need more wobbly teeth, says Lola. Have you got any more wobbly teeth? Lotta says, no. What about this one, says Lola. No, says Lotta. Lola says, try that one. This one, this one, this one. Wow, I wonder which animal they will get next. Will it be goat? Hope you enjoyed it, guys.